Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Quiet Work podcast. I'm honored to be joined today by Kevin Stuart. We're going to talk about growing family run franchise business in a space that's very unique, very niched, blinds for your homes. I believe strongly that this is what makes your home environment even a nicer place. So without any further ado, Kevin, please introduce yourself and the company you represent, and we'll start the conversation with that.
Thank you, Matt. So I am the youngest of three brothers. Mom started the company in a garage about 30 something years ago and up in Washington State, brought it down to Texas. And one by one, my brothers and I started joining and just started building the family business, just our own little family business, couple employees, started doing a couple million a year. And my oldest brother, who's kind of the thinker of the group, said, "Hey, let's franchise this thing. I only need a couple $1,000s to start. Can I have it?" And so we all voted and gave him that initial fund. And then we started franchising about 11 or 12 years ago. I'm horrible with timelines, so forgive me on that one. And little by little, we have just been growing this franchise thing into 85 locations across the country, constituting 180 territories all around all four corners of the US. And so we sell blind shutters and shades, and our niche, what really makes us set out, the differentiator would be repairs. We're the only national company that does window covering repairs.
You do repairs on existing structures in your people's homes, or only on those that you've installed?
No, that's a great question. Most people will only touch the stuff they sold. For the last
Mhm.
20 years, I have been perfecting, for lack of a better term, the repair game and the efficiencies and figuring out all the different models of generational models of these components and these headrails and in these shades. And so we will fix anybody's stuff.
It's incredible. And is that you mainly work with, or the franchise that you established, do they really work with homeowners only, or are there also commercial applications for your services and the services that franchise
We
offers?
like to say, no matter where's a window, we will work. So it doesn't matter if it's commercial, residential. We've done boats. We've done some really cool projects.
Yes, I can imagine. I came back from Miami, and there's a bunch of boats that could need some proper shades, and I can definitely afford it. Let me tell you that.
Exactly.
Looking at the size of the boats, interesting. And I read somewhere that you also offer automated systems for those blinds, which is a unique thing because I haven't seen much of it, even on multi-million-dollar homes here in Southern California. It's very, if you have it, it stands out right away if you have some
Yep.
sort of automations in your home. So you offer that as well?
Yeah. So when I started this 20 years ago, only the rich of the rich of the rich could really afford motorization. The motor itself was often more expensive than the actual shade
Mhm.
was. And so it was kind of cool, unique, like you said, to see it. But honestly, now with the motorization options that are out there, you can get a motor added to a product for around $50 to $100.
Whoa, that's
Yeah.
horrible. I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, I can only imagine how people would love to wake up and say to their Alexa, I hope I will not wake her up when she doesn't hear me, Alexa, to start a day, and all the blinds will lift up. And then when you finish your day, tell Alexa good night, and she'll cover all the blinds and turn off the lights, and you just go to sleep. That's what I envision when I see fully automated homes, and blinds obviously is a big part of it. It gives you protection and also a nice blacking out environment for a better sleep, and obviously helps you calm down and relax in the evening.
It's gotten even crazier. So this will kind of blow your mind when it comes to window coverings. They even have light sensors that you can set it to where when the light gets so bright,
Oh,
they'll raise. When it gets so dim, they'll lower. And they have rechargeable solar panel packs now that are, a couple inches long, 2 inches tall, that will keep you from ever having to change out the batteries.
no way.
Yeah,
Wow.
for window
That's
covers.
incredible. I have to you said you're in California as well, right?
No, I was born there.
Oh, you were born,
Now
but
we're in Texas.
and I know, but the franchise, any of your clients are there in California, so franchises?
Yep, several in around there. We'll swap some information a little later.
For sure. I mean, I can. My neighbor just yesterday fixed all of his blinds, so because the sun is blinding really hard on his house. So yeah, I definitely know who to recommend when someone else will ask me about that. But back to the business. So just so I understand it correctly, when you started out, was it still a local business that ran by your mom and others, or were you, when you joined, it already part of a franchise? I mean, the franchise was growing. The franchise was the main objective for the business.
No, when I started, it was still mom, three brothers, and a couple employees, no franchising whatsoever. So we went from when we started, so we were incorporated in Texas when my mom moved down here on 9/11 in 2001. We were some of the
Whoa!
last papers to get stamped down at the county house to be incorporated. And she was doing maybe 2,000 a month at that time. Everyone was kind of clutching their pearls at that time. Because we did the repair thing and no one else did, she was actually starting to her revenues were increasing about 30% every single month just
Mm.
by the repairs. And so she got so busy with repairs. My middle brother started with her. Then our oldest brother came down and she said, I can't pay you. You literally have to go out and find sales to get yourself paid. So he was making about $200 a week at that time. And then I was bartending at a very popular bar and I just kind of had a panic attack and said, this is not what I want to do for the rest of my life. Mom said, come join me and the brothers. I'll give you all 17% of the company. Will hold 51% of the company so she can make all the decisions. And then we just built it together and it was a lot of fun. I've never been apart from my brothers. And for the last 43 years, one way or another, we have worked together in restaurants or gone to school together and built businesses together.
I love that. And also it's really inspiring to see that your mom gave the shares also to you and your brothers. Usually when I my experience coming from Europe and my experience here in the United States, when that happens, you can forget about any shares for a long time until maybe the main shareholder wants to retire. And at this point you can do you can expect some shares to be handled to you. But now you have that ownership experience and you and your brothers being part of something greater than yourself, and you feel more motivated. At least I can imagine that's would give you more motivation to show up and grow the company, even if there's no money or no salary yet, or the minimum salary in the
Oof, minimum.
beginning. I can imagine. Tell us a bit about the dynamics, maybe some challenges and benefits of running a business with your brothers, maybe in the beginning with your mom as well, because I can imagine there it's an interesting experience for sure, and not everyone gets to experience that in their lifetimes.
Well, when we first started working together full time in the business, we were all basically in our young 20s. And so
Mm.
you can understand how everyone, pardon me, thought we were the smartest and the best and wanted to make sure the other two knew it. Of course, they found out that I was. And there was a lot of emotional times. So when we first started, we also had blind cleaning. And so we'd be stuck in the back of this box truck, no heat, no air conditioning in Texas, sweating or freezing. And every day, sometimes 5, 6, 7 days a week, you're just stuck with these guys. And emotions run hot. So there would be times where we would fight. And just to calm it down, somebody would go on a walk. Someone would just get out of the truck, not even say anything, and just go for a walk. But then we'd have to turn around and go back into Mrs. Smith's house. And it'd be like, hey, Kelsey, can you hand me a ladder, buddy? Sure, Kevin, no problem. So we learned how to turn that off real quick, turn it on, turn it off. As we started growing, we found out that there were these sandboxes, these niches that we could all kind of take over and excel in. Mine happened to be product information, installation, motorization, and repairs.
Mm.
That just kind of became my thing and warehouse management. My brother Kelsey, the oldest brother, became our full time sales guy. My brother Chris was actually at that time we were starting to get pretty busy. Was becoming a firefighter, paramedic, and so he would come over and do all the challenging things that I couldn't even figure out. As long as we stayed in our little sandboxes and we trusted each other, we knew every day that I'm going to come to work and work the hardest I can for the guy next to me. I know it sounds kind of military, like brotherhood, but we are brothers, we are family, and our parents were always entrepreneurs. So we always saw what it took. And you just can't stop no matter what. Even if you're having a bad day, you have to trust the person next to you and you have to keep going. And so we also learned a great term called our emotional reaction. So
Mm.
when anyone would say anything, ask a question, you have that emotional reaction that, or that's stupid. You say it out loud and then you go, let me think about it. We'll figure this out together. So we got over the heated times in a couple years and then started to learn to trust each other and then trust each other's experience. And that really helped us mature to where we are now. Our desks were in a triangle When we first started this franchise, it was in a triangle. We didn't have a board. And so when we needed a decision made quickly, take all emotional baggage out of it, and we just voted. We literally did this. And if you lost, you lost. Say, I wanted up, and the other two said down. It is what it is. No emotional baggage because of it. Maybe I'll win the next one. And so we just started growing in that direction. Now we have a board and they kind of make decisions for us, which is nice. But we tried to teach them this and this, and they said it's not very corporate like.
Simplicity always wins. But I have to say, my hat off to you, to the Stewart brothers, because that's amazing. I mean, to have that figured out, and it almost makes me think that this all of those strategies that you shared are applicable to any relationship, whether it's a marriage or friendship or any other relationship, business relationship. That is amazing. And actually funny that you mentioned the walk part of it, because I remember reading through some stories when in the 80s, the president of, I believe it was 80s, from Russia came over, and there was a heated conversation with our president and Russian president, and one of the president stood up and just went on a walk to cool down and came back, and they actually made a decision that impacted millions and hundreds of millions of people worldwide. So walking as a meditative something too that helps us calm down. But I just am inspired by this, because the stories from my family, or experiences from my family, is that the conversation got so heated that it just didn't work out, and a lot of those relationships just break at this point, and it's just too much to maintain the balance between family. We're family, or we're business partners. We're running a business still, so we have to find a balance in it. So great,
Mhm.
amazing, inspiring job, and I hope some other family-run businesses will listen to that episode and get some knowledge from it as well, and some ideas.
Yeah, I hope so. It takes time, but we also know that every day we're going to come to work. Every day, even after a fight, I'm going to show up for you, and hopefully you come show up for me.
Exactly. And you have main goal. I mean, same goal.
Mhm.
Everyone has, wants to grow the company, provide for families, and build a great company. As one of my previous guests said, a badass company. That's his goal. He wants to build a company, and that's what you guys are doing. So tell me about the shift from growing in a local market, which obviously comes with its challenges. I'm not saying it doesn't, but you have one area to market, one area to essentially dominate, come in and provide services for, versus a franchise comes with completely different set of challenges and things that you need to figure out. What was the tell us about the every day the shift towards their franchise from your perspective?
So brother comes in, says, "Hey, I want a franchise. All we're going to have to do is teach some people the basics about blinds, and then we'll just send them off and they'll send us checks back. It's going to be great." So we said, "Okay." And then we got our first franchise, and we literally were standing around like, "Guys, we got a guy flying in this weekend. What are we doing? Like, we don't even have a schedule for this guy." And he's still around, believe it or not. And he knows this story. And so we kind of just came up with a game plan on the fly. And our first several franchisees were very street smart, because we actually put them in the van and then drove around, and they would go on appointments and see how this thing is done. We didn't have a lot of back end curriculum. So I'd take them for a couple hours in the back of our little 1100 square foot flex space that was overloaded with blinds. Like, they literally had to straddle blinds as big boxes as I'm teaching them repairs. And then even the repairs that I had didn't have a schedule. It was old blinds that we hadn't thrown away yet, that were mismeasured or slightly broken, and I could teach him how to fix it, or have them fix it. And we started to realize we needed at least a curriculum, and we started thinking about that right about probably the eighth or ninth one. But the curriculum was more like, these are the things we need to talk about while we're still in the van, and Kevin, these are the things you need to go over repair wise. When you were out in the van, we realized really quickly that you may see, as a candidate or a franchisee, the same sale over and over and over, even possibly for weeks. You might not see a shutter sale. You might not see a honeycomb shade sale. It might just be all forward blinds. And through that, we started to realize that, okay, we actually need to get really serious about a curriculum, and probably a different space, so we can actually have a training facility. And that's where the mindset came to, actually getting them out of the van and into the school. And so we went and bought for lack of a better term, two garages, like those industrial style garages. And then we're surrounded by like high end mechanics, recycles, all these like, type businesses. And here's our cute little tiny pink business with the only air conditioning there. Everyone hated us for that. And we started filling out this center, these two parts of garages that were connected, into a training facility. And our curriculum has changed so much. It's incredible. Yeah, so we just started growing, growing, growing. And now our training facility, when we started, had 2 bays for windows to take blinds out, take blinds in, fix them, hang them. Now we have 27, including in one whole bay, we built a mock house. It's completely framed to code. It's electric to
Wow.
code, and it has a lot of windows in it that have special needs, like special measuring needs and special considerations, so that we get them a really like a feeling of being in a home before they ever get to a home. So all of that from a 1100 foot flex space that you had to literally climb blinds to this masterpiece, which we now call our national training facility. Kelsey, Chris, and I did all the training back in the day up to about 4 years ago. We went from 3 people, me, Kelsey, and Chris, mom's retired, to 11 people like that during COVID. And I have a very beautiful corporate office now and the training facility space as well. So
Wow.
definitely some growth.
That's absolutely some growth for sure. Take us through the franchisees journey. So it starts with obviously them being interested in it. And once they decide, what happens next? Do they fly in first, get trained for several weeks? Is it a weekend's training, or do they have to get some sort of certification at the end of the training now that you have national facility there, training facility? And what is the journey for typical franchisee?
Sure. After they sign, they have 4 weeks of onboarding, which is an all virtual. It's setting up your business. We want to make sure on day one, when you leave from training and you have jobs, your business is set up. We learned that very early on, how important that was. We used to leave it up to the franchisees. They'd come to work or training and they wouldn't have, say, I can't think of it at the moment, some kind of a state certification they need to go to work. And so
Mm.
they would be paused. Then we decided to get an onboarding manager. So she does that whole 4 weeks every month. She takes a cohort and does all the things and sets them up on a Monday board and makes sure that they get every certification, every I dotted, every T crossed to make sure they can go to work. Then right after that, I mean, literally the next week after that's done, after that 4, they come here for a 2 week training, Monday through Friday. And it is intense. I'm not going to lie. Most trade schools are 6 months, 8 months plus apprenticeship. We have to give you a lot of information in 2 weeks, but it's a cradle to grave idea.
Mm.
First, we break down every category. So there's blind, then there's honeycomb shades, roller shades, shutters, and exterior as well. We're big into the exterior space now. And we break down each one of those sections. We repair it first. If we can repair it and talk about the pieces and talk about the product, then I could sell it. So then we go to the sales portion. After the sales portion, then we go to installation. And then we do that for every single section, basically. So it's a cradle to grave. And then we do some sales training, some sales role play training. And then, yeah, that's about it. Monday through Friday from 8 to 5 every day.
Intense. Are there difficulties finding technicians when, let's say, someone from Utah wants to become part of the Bloomin Blinds ecosystem and start a franchise? The ownership would come in, obviously, get trained, go through the training as well. But as they start growing, they will need more technicians to do the job for them. Are they also sending those new technicians first to over to you, or what's the process for them to train their team to make sure that they maintain that quality that Bloomin Blue Blinds standard that you want to maintain throughout the nation?
So they can find them by themselves. They can train them by themselves if they want. But we warn against it because of that drive time. You're going to be paying these guys so much just to drive around. And again, you're not going to see everything you want to show them.
Mm,
So we actually have to find them. We actually have a recruiter that specializes in finding people in the field to hire.
mm,
This is I mean, it's a 9 billion. I think last year was $9 billion in the US for window coverings. And so there's a lot of people who actually are in this industry, believe it or not. So they're easy to find, easy to poach. And then they have other criterias that the recruiter can look for to see if they'll fit. And then we actually offer them for completely free on our side to send them to training. to go through the full 2-week training. What we can show them in 2 weeks is far more than what they will ever see out in the field in 2 weeks. And it's completely free. All they have to pay for is airfare or, gas money to get here, and then their room and board. We feed them lunch, we feed them dinner, and then uh, not dinner, sorry. We feed them breakfast and lunch. And then during the 2 weeks, they also were taken out by vendors to have some really nice dinners, several of them. So they're taken care of. But the idea too, yes, they're going to see marketing. They're going to see all this extra stuff that most staff members don't need, right? But they'll have a full mindset of how the business runs. And if we can get everyone speaking the same language, how easy is that to then have that technician come back home and everyone starts with the same playing field?
Makes sense. Makes sense. That's great that you offer that, and obviously training is so important in any industry, and especially something like that you want to make sure that it lasts for a couple of years at least. And I know how bad of experience it is, and how technicians hate to go back to the same site 3 or 4 times because something is not done correctly the first time. So
Uh-huh.
I asked that question with the mind to avoid those situations for those who run those service type businesses or home service type businesses. I do have some experience, not obviously your experience with franchise, growing the franchise business. And I remember when it was, in our case, a lot of franchisees had all kinds of interesting requests to the headquarters.
Oh,
So
yes.
everything, as soon as something happened, they blamed it on us. They blamed it on our, whatever training, our methods, and something that we didn't teach them, something we didn't show them. Do you have any stories, obviously without mentioning the names or even locations, but any stories related to that? Some interesting quests from franchisees to the
So
headquarters.
just had one recently. A gentleman has been doing this for about 5 years. Very hot market, one of the hottest markets for home building in the country. And his sales were starting to really take off.
Wow.
And he asked for a variance request to actually stop doing repairs altogether. He
Wow.
only wanted to do sales. And we tried to remind him there's a reason that you are where you are. It wasn't just because of sales. It was also because repairs. Look at your referral rates. So we looked up his referral rates, and his referral rates, we can't say necessarily from repairs, but in general, are about 33%. And that's on average of what we know should be a well-run business. Is about 33, 34% of your business should be coming from referrals. But when you start, you're so repair heavy, the SEO, all that background, because what do we type in? Blind repair near me, right? And so we pop up on the first page, usually on the first line, if we're in your area. And then that's how you start growing your business and growing your business off referrals from that. Because we're willing to say yes when somebody calls and says, hey, can you fix my blinds? We are now what I call boots on the ground. We get our boots on the ground and we have the chance to make that connection and that chance to make more money. Pardon me. We're constantly looking for another broken blind or a missing window or a patio or pergola that could use a outdoor space covering. So we politely told them, no, that's unfortunately, A, it's in your FDD, and B, it is part of your business that'll help you continue to grow on the free referrals, which is the best kind of advertising you can have for your business, cost wise and just word of mouth wise.
Exactly.
So that,
Those were the stories I was looking for because I remember they kept up came up very very often in that case, and yeah, some of them were, like I said, like you said, trying to change the business model that has been working for 80. I believe you have 80 plus
Mhm.
franchise. Yeah, so working
Yeah,
for 80 plus. But that one exception is for whatever reasons, obviously good reasons in that case. I mean, valid reason, but obviously he didn't think long term enough because we
exactly right. And he
so
came back off it. He wasn't purely happy about it, but he understood the logic.
you've mentioned also marketing, search engine optimization. Obviously, people first thing they do when they think about blinds, they first thing would be asking for a friend who recently
Mhm.
had it done or someone in the family circle that would know someone. I guess that's the first step. Second, most common step would be to Google it or find ChatGPT, ask GPT now to do that.
Yeah.
Are you also training your franchisees on how to market themselves in their local areas?
Yeah, so we have boots on the ground marketing hitting your window companies, your flooring companies, believe it or not, other companies that are also in the house every day. And
Mhm.
so we go and partner with them. Realtors are huge for us. Believe it or not, even realtor photographers, because they want that room to look nice. If there's a broken blind, typically what they do is they just take it down. They'll leave the brackets up. With the keen eye, you can see that and it just looks bad. But they want a window covering in that room that look nice and match everything else in the house so it looks fluid, right? So those kind of people, realtors are absolutely huge for us. Schools, your colleges, especially if you have like a governmental agency, a Navy base, or a can't think of the Army kind of base. And believe it or not, those are really big resources, college campuses. And then we have the digital marketing, and we are really big on pushing digital marketing. We have one franchisee who is our top sailor, does about 3 million a year with him and just two other guys, and he has the lowest digital marketing spend out of all 80 plus locations because he has such a huge following in his local market for social media. Like that just it blows my mind. He's found out some really big tips and tricks. He's an ex-pastor, and so he doesn't have a background in this. He just decided that he's going to take time out of his day every day to learn something about social media and how it works. And he's now one thing I love about our organization: everyone's willing to help everyone else, and so he's been creating seminars to help everyone else understand how to do this thing. And so social media for our industry in general is pretty big.
I love that. Yes. And I can't see any reason why it wouldn't be, especially for a local market. It's so much easier to gain traction there and grow locally, be known locally. Because every time someone sees your story on Instagram and shares it into their circle, that's literally their 400 or 500 eyes. Most of them are local on your product or your service, and that has so many applications. And especially the bar is still low because not many local businesses would go that route or think about that right away and actually invest time like that ex-pastor, one of the best selling franchise for a franchisee for you. I love that fact. And
Yeah, and we actually about go ahead, sorry.
go ahead, finish your thought, man.
Yeah, we actually teach them not just to post window coverings, to post going to your local ice cream parlor, post going walking your kids at the park. Like be part of your community. Don't
Yes,
just be a corporate page. And that's really made a big difference.
exactly. Usually, I like to break it down to 3 or 4 pillars that would be building your strategy, content strategies. One pillar would be obviously business service related stuff, and second would be your family, for example, or
Mhm.
anything that others have in common, pets, dog parks or whatever, somewhere people would feel like, hey, you're a real human being, you're running a good company because you have a dog, I have a dog, or you
Yeah.
drink coffee with your family, or you go to church on Sunday and I go there too. And even though I haven't seen you there, I feel like we have so many things in common now. And that makes it much better choice or easier choice for me to choose when it comes to blinds. And there's, like you
Yeah.
said, various reasons. You mentioned real estate agents. The ugliest thing that can be seen on a picture when you're selling a home is those completely yellowed out, I guess you can say, at
Yes.
times because of the sun that we have in the desert here. You see it's very common here. And obviously the sun is changing the color, not only on your car's paint, but also on your
Uh-huh.
blinds paint and everywhere else. It burns through everything when it's 120 degrees for 3 months or 2 months of the year. So I can imagine there's a bunch of reasons to do that, and safety. I think safety would be a valid reason to talk about as well, especially with those blinds that go outside of the window.
Mhm.
Do you offer those as well?
No, and that's not something we offer, but we still get into the safety thing. So, kind of a sad conversation to have. But with today's world and bad things that happen in schools, we are actually creating programs to where we can have the shades on in a motor and then have an all set button. So at any time, anyone can hit the red button and that'll
Mm.
drop all the shades quickly, and there's no way to see inside. So, seconds save lives, and not a great conversation to have, but we do have that program as well. And many franchisees have done that in schools.
Yeah, I remember that having it at our school in Germany. There was that button that all of the students wanted to press. Luckily, we didn't have that at any point, but it was actually in every room, the classroom, there was this big red button on the wall that you could press and shut down all the blinds at school. So I can imagine that. Kevin, walk us through your day to day now that you have established situation and you don't even do the training anymore. You have someone that does the training from, if I remember correctly. So how does your day to day look like growing a franchise business like that?
So, believe it or not, I'm still fully engaged day to day in helping and supporting the franchisees. With my 20 years of repair knowledge, I'm trying to get it out of here somewhere else. I'm currently working on what I call my mini me. So, I have the guy that I'm trying to download all this information because he is currently our trainer. Um, for repairs. I also still have a couple modules in the training itself because in the room I have trainers and I have training directors, but out of them, I'm the only guy in the room who's actually done it. And
Mm,
so I go to every training, to have a brother presence there. A lot of reasons people buy into the family business is because the family business. So to have a presence there, I go and actually just stay there the whole 2 weeks. I get an office up there, no problem. And then I train 2 modules and I support the franchisees daily and then train my mini me every day on more stuff. Now he's a motorization guru. What he knows about motorization, I know about repairs. So I'm making this guy basically an all-star in the industry and he'll be unstoppable. Day to day, I'm still day to day. We have a CEO, but we still have daily meetings of where are we going, what are we doing, how are we doing it? Are we staying on the culture band that we want to stay on? We're still small but big, where we can be nimble. Right now, a lot of my time, I actually moved my office out of my office into what we call Gen Pop. And so we have a call center over here, support center. And again, being the only person in the room who can actually answer those technical support questions, other brothers have other tasks. Welcome to talk about that if you want. I answer all the technical questions when Mrs. Smith calls and says, "Hey, can we do this?" They come to me and I say yes or no. And so I'm constantly just darting around, training somebody else or helping answer questions, and then day to day operations as well. So I'm a little bumblebee around here.
making sure everything runs smoothly. And
Yeah.
are you still running the local operations where you are based, or are you
Nope.
completely?
No more corporate stores. We just build franchisees.
So you're one of your brothers who said was the head of a sales team or running the sales in the beginning. Is he now running the sales for the franchises or finding their franchisees? Is that what
So
he's doing?
he by himself found like the first 40 franchises that we
Oh,
sold. Yeah. Now we have an FSO, franchise FastLane, who now goes out and finds the candidates for us, vets them for us under a certain scale of requirements, I guess you could say, characteristics. Then they bring them to us for confirmation day, which is a day and a half. First day, we just wine and dine them. We go to a nice Tommy Bahama dinner where we laugh, break bread like family does. And then the second day is come see the thing. Let's take you to the training facility. Let's get your hands a little dirty. Let's show you the software. Let's show you the office, meet the team kind of thing. And that's the second day. And so Kelsey went from that, once we got the FSO, he went from that to kind of supporting the franchisees and marketing. Then we got
mm,
a CMO. So he got out of the marketing area and really did more developing the franchisees, helping them grow when they hit those hurdles. What do I do when I'm doing X amount and I can't sleep because I'm so busy? Okay, that's the time to start getting a technician. He did that for the longest time. And then he now is trying to find our organic. So he's going back to FranDev and trying to find those organic franchises as well. That franchise Fastlane is worth their money. They take a lot of the initial funds out of the franchise fee. And so we want to find those organically as well so we can help kind of balance that out because we have some other larger projects that are in the works that we need to fund and that's going to help us fund. And we don't like loans. We don't like loans at all. So we've been basically self-funded through all of this.
wow.
And we want to continue to do that.
Absolutely. That's the safest way. If Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger would say that businesses that are self-funded, let's say, they will last the longest, and that's what they recommend as well. Now you said organic growth or expansion. What are the ways or the strategies there to expand organically for you, so you don't have to pay those fees and more control over that?
Well, we can take 1/10 of that money and that fee and hit all the digital marketing that really wasn't around when we started. So
Mm,
believe it or not, LinkedIn, even Indeed, all those social platforms like that, Facebook, even just to get the word of the mouth out and, hit those showing off the FranDev website. And then the other way is just portals, good old fashioned portals. franchise.com, gatorfranchise.com. There
Mhm.
are just these websites that have thousands of different businesses. It's insane to go on there and see what you can do. I just saw one that was genius. I almost want to do it. It's for airplane cleaning, high end, like you go out and clean jets and you charge like $4,000 or $5,000 for a day's worth of work. It blows my mind. It's awesome. But yeah, you literally just, Matt, would go click bloominblinds.com, send a little inquiry. Kelsey would reach out, start a conversation, and just go through that process, which usually entails, who are you? That's the biggest part. And then let's read the FDD and see if this makes sense to you.
I love that. And the jet cleaning business, my brother-in-law was looking into that. He started detailing cleaning in Florida, around in Florida, and was looking at the jet cleaning business. He got trained for it as well in actually
Oh,
Northern California. There's a facility for that. Not of the Silicon Valley. They fly a lot private, obviously, so they need to have proper training there. But it comes with a huge liability. That's the problem. That's the only problem with that. You might find your clients that obviously you will make good money with that. But if something happens to the plane, or you break something, or the leather
oh
spread,
yeah.
that's where they don't what they don't like to see. So you have to have huge liability insurance and all that stuff. But that's obviously another topic. But I caught my attention as well. Like for you that LinkedIn has 100 million daily active users. You probably see 0.0001% of them because the algorithm is still not where all other social media platforms are. With that said, there's still, I'm sure, a lot of potential franchisees for you guys. And Facebook has the most advanced algorithm, so I can imagine running an ad speaking directly to that family-run business, or if you dreamt about having a family-run business. We've done this model for the last 37 years, or whatever the amounts of years was that you actually started even in your local businesses, and now we help you do that, and then explain the behind the scenes. Maybe even have like a video of the whole journey that you described would I can imagine would be crushing it. But one thing I wanted to ask you: do you have a community for your franchisees that where they can come in and essentially, once they get trained, once they are established, they don't have to be active on a daily basis, but they can exchange information. Hey, this is what's working for me now. This is what's working for me. This is what's not working for us. Or we tried this. We spent X amount of money on that particular acquisition model. Didn't work. Do you have a community like that?
Yes, we're all about community. So we actually don't call our franchisees owners or Z's. We call them family members. Our national convention is not a national convention, it's a family reunion. There's a lot of people, a lot of really smart people that says, don't do that. Be a team member, be a staff member. Even employee is better than calling your coworkers family. But we believe as a family, you'll fight hard for your family and you will treat people a little different. There's not so much covering your butt because the other team member wants your job or this or that. It's great. And so we foster that family community through our franchisees as well. We have two platforms, one brand new. We just built our own CRM. And
Wow.
so it has a feed that they can go in there and type all they want. But before that, we had a private Facebook group page where me and the brothers basically stay out. I go and answer questions, but it's their forum. It's their house to go and talk about anything that they want. The good, the bad, the ugly. All we ask is everyone's respectful. And we've never had to pull anybody off or say something because they were mean to each other. I love this community. And so we have that. And then we have peer groups. We're really big. It's really easy once you leave to feel like you're on an island. Even though you're part of a brand, you're by yourself. And so you kind of lose that family community feeling and who are you working with as a brand. And so we do peer groups. We have two different kind of peer groups. We have financial and then timeline. The owner's been doing this for 5 years, has a different obstacle set than the ones that have been doing it for 5 or 6 months. So we have three different groups that we put them in. And same with financial. The guy doing 3 to 4 million a year has totally different obstacles than the guy who just started and just trying to get some leads going. So we keep them those cohorts together and they kind of grow together. And so they start talking together. And it's really cool because when we go to family reunion, it's almost like a high school clique. You see these folks that have been on these peer groups together kind of huddle together. It's like their safety net because they're new too, or they're old and been there a while. So they want to stick with the old guys. And then you'll see these cliques merge and it's the old folks, the legacies helping out the new guys. I love to sit back and watch that at family reunion is my favorite thing. So
I
yes, we definitely are all about community engagement.
I can imagine everyone wants to be at the cool kids table and
Yeah, yes.
have a conversation there. I have you heard about a platform called School? SKOOL.com, school.com.
Mm-mm.
I guess they should at this point sponsor my podcast because I talk about introduce them to so many of my guests. But it's such a cool concept, and I'm really heavily thinking into starting my own community. But it's essentially Google, Facebook group on steroids. So you can have a free community, you can have a paid community, you can have your online courses on it, inside of it, paid courses, free courses. You can have your calendar there where you would host like webinars, for example. And the reason why I bring that up is similar to Facebook group, but that platform only focuses is built by, first of all, by one of the greatest marketers of 21st century, we have to say.
Yeah.
Also really focuses only on that community aspect of it, versus Facebook is mainly focused on their paid ads, and that's what they want to grow because that's what gives them 95% of revenue at huge profit margins, and not Facebook groups, which was a big part of it still. So the reason why I bring that up is because I imagine a funnel, as you said, where potential franchise family member comes in, I'm sorry, family
Okay.
member would be interested in joining the family, being part of the family, that you could invite them to the free group. Obviously, you still should have the group, not a paid group, but a group with your family members, existing family members, divided into peers. But you could also host a free group for everyone who's interested in starting their own
Oh,
business, and you could invite them there. Occasionally, you could invite some of the members from your existing family members to speak about their experience, maybe from different peers. That would give them a round angle of essentially how it looks like in the beginning, how it looks like later on when you're established and you're growing. So you could host those weekly or maybe monthly webinars where you would get on a call inside of the community and share, hey, this is what we do, this is how we do it. This is Mr. and Mrs. Smith who started their business 3 years ago. This is what they do, and I'll let them explain their process from their perspective, so you can have a good understanding of it. Just a thought came to me when as you were explaining this, whether a person who is interested comes from Facebook, LinkedIn, or word of mouth, or some other franchises. I'm sorry, family members. To build the habit of calling them family members now. Other family members that invite their friends and their partners. That was in our case. Like a lot of them came from just pretty much word of mouth because they all have friends that want to get into business, and if the business is growing, everyone wants to be part of it. So you will
mhm.
have a model into that and essentially teach them the same way. So they could all send their friends and family members or potential partners into their community. You could just do what you do, just sharing your experience, teaching, and maybe have your brothers involved in that occasionally. That could be something that I can imagine would be a great way to get people in your ecosystem and with
Mhm.
that experience from get go. Just a thought. I hope you don't mind me sharing.
No, you sure you don't own major stock in that company there? Because that was a great sales pitch.
I know, yes, I should, but now I'm just part of few groups, and that was the experience that I had from one of the group that stood out for me, and it's very
Hmm.
memorable. Where essentially joined a group, there was a call like that is just like I described, and there was our existing members already sharing their experience, nothing more, nothing else, demonstrating actually, which is the best way. In your
Oh, yeah.
case, would be talking about some numbers, some the timelines, like how long it takes to get business off the
Right.
ground, how long to get the first sale, how exciting it is to have the first three clients that are satisfied, or homeowners that are satisfied with the job that we've done, and the referrals that came from it. And that would be something that obviously their stories are ideas are endless there. So
Yeah, it's a great idea. I will be looking into that.
absolutely. Um, are there any innovations that you are introducing to whether your operations or for your family members that are part of it? I'm talking about artificial intelligence for main part,
Mm.
or any other software innovations that you're excited about.
We are a big believer in this AI movement and technology in general. Our industry, for lack of a better term, hate to say it, fat and happy. So they don't have to move fast. Once you're kind of set into the community, you're set and you're riding pretty. You got a good job. We want to build empires, not jobs, and we want empire builders. And so we've always been on the leading front of technology. So that comes through, instead of using tape measures and writing something down on a triple copy, the old, 3-color copies, which where we started with. And then we found lasers, tape lasers.
Yeah.
And then we found the really nice ones. They had Home Depot ones for $50 that were slightly inaccurate. And then we found $400 ones that are accurate every time. And then we realized that they could Bluetooth the information from that laser to your iPad. So now we run everything off an iPad and a laser instead of a pen and paper and a tape measure. Beyond more efficient. I can do 3 times as fast measuring that way because it's just measure, boom, transfer, transfer, transfer. Then we started getting to the AI race. So my middle brother, about 2 years ago, came to us and said, "Hey, I want to be the chief innovative officer. Basically, I want to go out and find new ideas." Fancy title. We said, "Go." He loves to research. He loves this stuff. So we set him off and he started coming back talking about AI and point cloud and all this other stuff. And then we had no idea, but we just trusted him. And he
Mm.
needed some money to do a couple projects and some rather large 6-figure checks. And we said, "Okay, we trust you." And we had a gentleman come in, AI expert, guru, if you will, and said, "What do you want your platform to be and do with AI?" And so we started just, "Can your software do this?" And he would stop saying can. Everything is a yes. It's just how we do it. So we
Mm.
spent 2 days just throwing things on the board of what we would love to have AI do. Have an AI agent that would be part of our call center. So when all of our actively live call center agents are busy or not working because they're home at night or weekends, we want this agent to be able to take calls and book calls. It is currently evolving to where it can start to book calls, but right now it's just taking basic information, can answer some really good basic questions. She sounds like a real person. It's insane. It didn't start there. So we've got that instituted. We created our own CRM platform where everything's going to be housed. Our training materials, everything's going to be in there, including so in our industry, there's really only 3 or 4 digital platforms to order blinds on. Everything else you have to take your measurements and go to a computer and type it in. They're great. They work really well. And it tells you like minimums and maximums. So if a product can't go beyond 110 inches and you type in 111 inches, it'll say you can't do that. So it's really good. But we're tired of paying other people for what we can own ourselves. And so we built our own working platform to buy or to order our window coverings from. So most platforms are a delay of 24 hours. Manufacturer comes out and says, "Hey, this color right here is not available," but you won't know it for 24 hours after you've already ordered. Our
Mm.
system is connected live. It's the only system that's connected live to the second. So as soon as they say it's out of order, we know and the system knows. So that's one thing. And then there's a special projects division, which I don't know if I can talk about, but basically it's going to eliminate any measuring errors through point cloud, LiDAR technology. And that'll ramp up the owner's mistakes or non-mistakes and taking anybody off the street. And as long as they have a good personality, the AI software we're also building into the ordering platform will also take away all mistakes and give Mrs. Smith basically exactly what she wants. And all you have to be is a good personality. You don't even have to be a window covering expert anymore. The AI will pick up off the conversation and pre-filter the options for her. So yeah.
It's it's quite fascinating that I can imagine someone, let's say in Portland or Chicago, wants to be part of the family, and within few seconds they can. You've mentioned building relationships with local businesses. Within few seconds, few clicks, you can have all of those local businesses that you like partner with, like real estate agents, local roofing companies, and then anything related around home
Definitely.
services. You can find out, reach out, introduce yourself. You're the new blinds expert in the market here, and you want to give back to the community, you want to support everyone out of businesses, refer business to them, and that can be literally done within a few hours, maybe not minutes, but few hours if you put your head into it. And back then, not only back then, 5 years ago, this would take you a couple of days and would
Yes.
be probably too complex for you to even start with that. You would probably be discouraged. Just the idea of it would be overwhelming that you wouldn't even approach it. So it's
Well,
fascinating.
also, our major competitor has 1,500 stores, right? And for them to make that kind of change, so
Too.
they're a big cruise ship. To turn, it takes them an hour, right? We're a very lean, clean battleship that can maneuver very quickly. So we can make these kind of changes and try these kind of things. We're even trying to create an AI agent of me where the franchisees can call in, and if I'm unavailable, the my mini me is unavailable, the AI agent will be able to pick up, figure out what they're working on, and then send them maybe a video that I've already created or a link that I've already created to instructions. So we're
Uh,
definitely not stagnant for a window covering company.
Create a Kevin AI. It's actually not as difficult. So I guess you would have to mainly upload all of the call recordings from the past and just teach it for the way you speak. I mean, it picks up really quickly now, and you would have your own Kev AI
Yep.
that will be answering. In fact, it will probably handle, if you train it correctly, 80 to 90% of the requests, because a lot of them are, I can imagine, repeatable, or
Yes.
something that happens more than once. So that would be a good way to watch it. Actually, look from stand by it, and look how Cafe AI is solving problems that you would have to solve otherwise.
Yep.
No,
So all of it's in the works, and yeah, that's what my middle brother does.
incredible. Yes, he's doing a great job.
Yes.
Absolutely. Now, Kev, if you had an opportunity to sit across the table from Kevin when he was first starting out, what advice would you have for him?
Keep doing it. Just keep going. Believe in yourself and believe in the family and the strength of the family, and they will always be there and they're never going to leave you. And keep going. And you're going to make some mistakes, but you're going to learn from them too. And the smart ones do. So be a smart one.
Absolutely. We need the world needs more Stuart like families. I can tell you that. A very inspiring story. My final question to you is, I know you've mentioned a lot of things that are exciting in the future, but what was the most exciting thing for you in the near future and the future in general that you can't wait to happen?
Hmm. I don't know. I'm so grounded in what I'm doing and truly love what I do. I love teaching. I love working with my hands. So I get to teach every single day, either new franchisees or new staff. I get to help people through the call center. Um, I don't know. I really enjoy what I'm doing. I can't think about the 5 years from now. I'm just trying to run this business day to day and keep it going. So sounds weird. Grandbabies. I'd really like some grandbabies, but other than that,
Well, yeah, can't control it, but I
yeah,
sure will can't. And that's what I wish for you and your family. A lot of grandkids. Yesterday, I was having my guest surprise me at the end of the call. He's actually growing a training business as well. Something we're not a franchise, but training business that helps all kinds of businesses in home service as well. And he surprised me because he said he has 7 children, and that was I can. We just had our first one 9 months ago, and we're very excited
hey,
for that. Sometimes overwhelmed, but seven, that's unheard of. But I guess you need, and then another guest yesterday also was part of a company that's been operating for 160 years. I guess that's
oh, that's
more.
so cool.
That's so cool. Exactly. 6 generations. And he's been in his role for 50 years. So he's finishing up his tenure as the president and head of the company. And he already has two of his children taking over the business. And they already have
Wow.
he has 7 grandkids. So altogether between them two. So it's, hopefully it's going to happen for you. And we'll see Blooming Blinds operating in 2150 beyond, and growing and scaling and innovating the world of blinds and home blinds and other cool services that you'll provide.
Well, thank you, Matt. Appreciate that. You too.
Thank you, Kevin, for making up my day. And it's the best way to start a day with a great conversation like that. It was very inspiring. I look
Awesome.
forward to spreading the word and talking about Blooming Blinds wherever someone mentions franchise and being part of a family. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you.